Year. Happy January 2019. Before we get started with your reading, I just wanted to say a few quick things to not waste your time. One thing is that for this month in January, I'm going to be doing all of your general readings in the beginning of the month, and then I'm going to be doing your bonus readings in mid-month, probably by the 15th or 16th. And I noticed when looking at the analytics on my channel that a lot of the time periods that people have been viewing these for is for like 10 to 15 minutes. And I know not all of you do that. I do have a loyal following now that actually watches these things all the way through. But for those of you that are wanting something quicker than this and a little bit more specific, I'm going to be putting out love readings separately and career readings separately. If those do well over time, I may start going into health readings as well, but that would break them up into about 10 minutes each. And so for those of you with short attention spans, you should probably be watching the mid-month readings. These readings, because they're general and in-depth for the month, they tend to be about a half an hour long, not including the beginning and end. Also, I wanted to say thank you so much for viewing these, liking these, subscribing, saying all of your wonderful comments. I read every single one, and I really enjoy the feedback and the appreciation, and I'm going to continue with this channel. So I just wanted to thank you and say how wonderful you guys are. And another thing is that if you would like to donate to my channel, which I surely could appreciate it, I've been doing this for about 6 months now, and I haven't really made any money at all off of this yet. It's a labor of love, so I don't mind doing these because I know that eventually this will build up where I'll have more people watching them and I'll eventually be able to make some money. But if you do feel like donating, I would really appreciate it, and the link is going to be down below in the description box. Also, the last thing I'm going to say before I let you go and not waste your time is that at the end of all of these general movies, there is a end credit section that gives you my email, says little messages from me, any information you might need to know about private readings. I did notice that I have been getting a few comments where people ask me if I do private readings. All that information is at the end credits, at the end of each video. There's usually music and some kind of a video that should be fun to watch. I also wanted to mention my daughter, because my daughter has been learning from me how to use Windows Movie Maker, and she actually has at least 0.5% influence on the end credits. So my daughter has actually been filming the movies, helping me pick out music for them, helping me put in the text, and helping me to go through the whole process. And so when you're watching the end credits, a lot of it is actually from my 11-year-old daughter, and they're extremely quick, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal to watch them. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Many blessings for the new year, and next will be your reading. Bye. Hello, Taurus. This is going to be your general reading for January 2019. Happy New Year's. Just to give you a heads up, I have my daughter in the kitchen watching a movie with headphones, so she absolutely cannot hear me, but my dog is like playing and eating his food and making a bunch of noise. So if you hear weird noises in the background, that's my puppy. So, okay, let's get down to business. So this month, as usual, I am using the spiral deck for your basic spread, your Celtic Cross, and then for clarifiers this month, I am using Brian Froud's Fairy Deck, which are beautiful cards based off of Brian Froud's art, or are Brian Froud's art. This is not a tarot system. This is a fairy system. No, that's not a good fairy to show you. Let's show you something else. This looks much nicer. You have Tobira of the Waters. So are you trusting your intuition or paying attention to your feelings or how you express your emotions? But anyway, so I'm going to show you your cards for your basic spread first, and then I'll get started. Your central experience for January is the Seven of Cups. Hopefully you can see that okay. Your challenge to that, sorry about the noise guys, but there isn't really much I can do about it. Okay, the Two of Pentacles is your challenge. What is helping you is the Queen of Wands. What is at the core of your being is the Lovers. Seems as though this reading seems to be centering on probably many things, but relationships is a big thing in here. You got all the relationship stuff that poor Aries didn't get. So, in the recent past, you have the Nine of Pentacles as your best possible outcome. You have the Six of Swords. There we go. In your near future, you have Strength. You right now are Temperance. In your surroundings, you have the Princess of Wands. Your hope or fears or both is the Eight of Cups. And your general outcome is the Nine of Cups. This is a really nice reading. You got 2 months in a row of amazing readings. So hang on one moment, I'll be right back. Okay. I'm going to try to do this succinctly so we can save some time. So, okay. Your central experience for January seems to be that you are emotionally confused about making a choice or what to go with or what to pick. Of course, this could have to do with anything. This could have to do with business, with home life, with your children. It could have to do with friendships, relationships, marriages, all different kinds of things. You know more than me on what you're emotionally confused about, if this reading even applies. So you are in an emotional fog concerning what is possible for you. If you look, she has one cup that is the golden cup that is above all the other cups. But notice it's behind her where she can't see it. And she's also in a fog, so she can't even really see the cups that are in front of her all that well either. She's trying to make a decision on what cup to sip, what to go with. But what she truly wants, that wouldn't be hard for her to choose, she thinks is unavailable to her, or she thinks it's not possible, or she's just not seeing it. And I'm just saying she because it's a woman in the picture. Obviously, you can be a man or a woman. So let's look at your clarifiers. Your first clarifier is Ilby. I have no idea how to pronounce that. The Retriever. He's basically the fairy that has to do with lost and found objects. When we think that we have completely lost sight or lost something, he is the fairy that helps you to find it again. For instance, if you lose your keys somewhere in your house, you have to hunt around until you find your keys. He's the fairy that helps you to find your keys again. He's also a fairy where it would make his job a lot easier if you could keep your own affairs in order or your own emotional body in order or your own mental capacities in order. Obviously, if your house was clean, it would be easier to find the keys. If your house is messy and you have a lot of things lying around, it's harder to find your keys, and it's harder for him to help you find your keys. He likes it when we keep our internal and external affairs in order because it makes his job a lot easier. So it could be that you either internally or externally have become too cluttered, and it's time to clean up so that it's easier to find the things that you lose. And metaphorically speaking, he helps you to find the things that you thought were lost for forever, as in a true love or a dream or any sort of thing that you have always longed for or wanted and gave up on and or possibly lost hope, or just lost sight of it, or just lost it. He also rules loyalty. And so, for instance, you know what is valuable to you by knowing what you're actually loyal to or what your values are. He helps you to find the things that are true to you, that you feel its absence. You know that it's lost because you care about it. And so this could be taken in a number of different ways. It could be that if we were talking about relationships or love, you're having a hard time choosing something for yourself because really you are loyal to the cup behind you. There may be a love that you thought was lost that may actually not be lost. And there may be a chance for reconciliation or finding each other again. This is reminding me of those sad stories about, actually I know someone that this has happened to, where she met someone that she had a deep connection for, and it was mutual. They both felt the same way. They made arrangements. They made arrangements to do something together. And he didn't show up, and she feared that it was because he really just didn't care, or that she just totally lost him. And a couple of years later, he actually popped back up and said that he really bad wanted to see her that day, but something came up and he lost all of the ways of reaching her. I think he lost her phone number, or I can't remember the specifics, but it was something like he would have showed up, but something happened and he couldn't get a hold of her because he actually lost her number and he had no way of reaching her. Something like that. It was in the early stages, obviously, of their relationship. But it's something kind of like that, or those missed opportunities, the one that got away, that sort of thing, where you just didn't mean to not see each other again. It just kind of happened that way. Or this could be a prized thing that you have lost too, whether it's a necklace that you lost or something that you lost, a dream that you lost. You think that your dream is not available or not possible. The dream is that one cup behind her. But the retriever fairy is letting you know that it's possible to find it again, or to bring this into being again, and you should remain loyal to your dreams, or remain loyal to what you have a connection with. And this most definitely has to do with inspiration or dreams, because you have Penelope Dreamweaver in here as the second clarifier. So you could say, that the cup behind her is her dream or inspiration, but she has cast it aside, or lost it, or thought it was lost, or gone for forever, or not possible. But this fairy is letting you know that it is possible, and you should remain true to what matters to you, or what your values are, or what you wish for, or whatever, to have faith that whatever you have lost is destined to return to you. So your challenge is making up your mind on what to go with, or what to manifest, or what to do as far as what you want to create for yourself. This could be that this is hypothetical, or an example, you may have always wished to move to a certain location, and that was your dream, and now your dream is coming back, but you're looking at how is it possible logistic-wise to do this? How would you release what you have from the past so that you can move towards this new reality? Or can you continue to juggle all of these things? Your challenge may be that you're dropping balls because there's just too many cups that are distracting you, too many things going on that you're emotionally confused about, so it's really hard to make a choice right now. But you're a clarifier. Excuse me, I'm still getting over being sick. I'm definitely feeling a lot better than before, but it's still lingering. Your clarifier with this is Sylvanus, the fairy who holds the sword of truth and reveals the truth, or reveals what is hidden. So it may be that your challenge is you may not be seeing clearly, and things will be revealed to you in time. Things will most definitely be revealed to you on what the truth of the matter is. It may be telling you for now to hold your horses, and it may not be the right time to make a major decision about how to proceed with creating something very tangible or long-lasting in your life right now, this month. It may be saying you may need to do some more reflecting or meditating on your choices or what you have going on right now before the truth becomes completely evident to you, and then you will be able to move forward or make your choice. So don't feel as though you need to hurry with this process. Most definitely keep your eyes open and try to see things as clearly as you can. And this fairy who's holding the mask, when someone's wearing a mask, it's hard for us to see what they actually who they really are. You could be talking to a relative of yours and may not be able to recognize them, especially if it's a full body suit. If someone's wearing a mask, it's hard to see their true face. It's only until the mask is lifted off and the truth is revealed when you know exactly what you're dealing with or who you're dealing with. And so it may just be saying, balance what you can at this time. Try to simplify what you can so that you have space and time for whatever this new thing is that's being brought back to life that inspires you to come back to you. And when it does, it will become extremely obvious to you. So that's your challenge. What is helping you is the Queen of Wands with the Singer of Connection. The Singer of Connection is about balance, but it's about spirit connections with other people, with animals, with the environment, with everything in existence. We are in a relationship with everything around us. But this is also telling me you may actually have a specific person in your life that you have a very deep connection with. And that connection is not going anywhere. Connections like this are not easy to break. Sometimes it takes people many ceremonies over and over of cutting a cord in order to feel released from this sort of connection. What I am getting is that this connection is extremely empowering and extremely uplifting and extremely motivating. You're very protective of this connection. And this can also be your connection with yourself, too, is to be assertive, to be yourself, to show your true colors, to be brave, to be courageous about going with connections. This is reminding me again of how you have the Retriever fairy as one of your central experiences for this month. Is what are you loyal to? And of course, you must be loyal to yourself. You must know what you want. You must know what you deserve in order to fully express the divine connections that are here for you. Divine connection with yourself, with other people, with how to properly balance relationships with other people. Mutual support, mutual empowerment, mutual upliftment, mutual, what's the word? Encouragement. It's extremely powerful. This is what's helping you, is to be connected to yourself and to others, and to honor what you need and want. To honor yourself, to be loyal to your dreams, to be loyal to your inspirations, to be loyal to what you need for yourself or want for yourself. When you're really connected with yourself, not to say that you're not, but when you're fully embodying that, this no longer is an issue, because you know exactly what's possible and what you want. And even if what you specifically wanted back then has not been possible, you can attract something even better that is still exactly what you want. Maybe not with the same face or in exactly the same way. But there is no real such thing as a dream being lost that you can act on, because even if one version of that dream didn't work out, doesn't mean it's not possible. You need to focus on what's helping you, which is to realize that these things are true, or that they are able to happen. So at your core, you have the Lovers in with ecstasy, which represents rapture and bliss. I'm sorry, you guys, but this looks like a soulmate relationship, or a grand, amazing connection that you have with someone, or even that you have with a dream or a specific location you want to go to. But I am getting a lot in here about relationships. So whether you've been in a relationship for a while, or have just started one, or you've just met someone, this is a connection that is true, ecstatic, that makes you feel extremely blessed, happy, and blissful. You need to make some kind of a major choice on going towards what brings you bliss, or expressing your bliss, or to go towards your bliss. It is completely possible for you to do this. There is nothing in the universe that's stopping you from expressing this or doing this. The only warning I'm really getting, or not even warning, but the only thing I feel obligated to say, is that it may not take the exact form that you've been thinking. But just because that particular face or form didn't work out doesn't mean that this isn't possible, or isn't even right in front of your face. And so you need to make some kind of a major decision. Do you stay in confusion and deny how you really feel, or who you really are, or what you really want, or deny action? Or do you acknowledge the inspiration, loyalty, true love, true truth, connection of something that brings you such bliss and happiness? What exactly is stopping you from making this choice, or making this choice to go towards manifesting this or continuing with this? You know more than me, but I'm not really getting that this is false. I'm getting that this is completely true. And you know this, you feel this, you can't deny it any longer. So this is amazing, you guys. So in your recent past, you have the Nine of Pentacles with, that gnome. If you look at him, he's a trickster. He is what happens to us when we're oh so sure of what we're doing, or set with what we think, what we believe, or what we think we're doing. And so he tricks us, or we trick ourselves. Let's put it that way. We trick ourselves, and sometimes it's only by stumbling or making a mistake or doing something stupid that we feel embarrassed about that snaps us into a different way of looking at things and realizing that we're only human beings and we're fallible and we're learning as we go. Just when you think you're an expert, something happens to make you realize you're a fool. And so what I'm getting here is that this is really specific. I'm hoping that this is making sense for you. You've been tricking yourself in a few different ways for a few different groups of Taurians. You've been tricking yourself, for some of you, into thinking that you're completely fine on your own when you're actually not. You may have built yourself up to a place of feeling confident in your own abilities, manifesting what you need for yourself. You are strong, independent, and able to do things on your own and to be independent. But you may have been fooling yourself or tricking yourself into thinking that you don't need relationships or you don't need anyone else. You're fine on your own, which is a trick. You actually really do want connection and ecstasy and loyalty. The only other way I can really read this is that you may have been tricking yourself. I'm feeling that this is much less of you that this is for, but I should say it. That you've been tricking yourself into thinking that you need a relationship in order to have what you need, when really you have been tricked in the way where I apologize in advance, you guys, I just have to spit it out. You may have not been having relationships work out one after the other because you have not mastered the art of being fine on your own yet. A relationship is a balance. If you look at this connection card, see the two arcs. They almost look like wishbones that are overlapping on top of each other. They are completely symmetrical. They are balanced with each other. They are connected, but they're not so connected that one is unequal from the other in size, vibration, or even how it looks. Sorry about that. It's balanced, it's symmetrical, it's equal connection and equal whole unto itself for both the different parts that are overlapping or connected to each other. In order to have a beautiful, solid relationship, you need to master the art of being fine on your own, but also realizing you do want a relationship. Not being too independent, but also to have the balance of realizing your own independence and your own ability to manifest so that you can be whole, so that you can enjoy a balanced relationship where you're not depending on someone too much. If this didn't have to do with relationships at all, something about how you've been approaching your independence or your need for not needing help. Okay. Not needing help from other people. You can do it on your own. You've already figured it out. Something like that. You have tricked yourself. You need to realize that you need proper relationships with your environment and with everything around you. It's not just you that has to shoulder everything on your own or do everything on your own. You may have been tricked yourself into realizing that you do need help. You do want, what's the word? Collaboration from others in what you're doing. Or you have been relying on others to help you too much and you have tricked yourself into realizing that you need to rely on yourself more. It's one or the other. So hopefully this is making sense for you. As your best possible outcome. It's to move on from your old ways of thinking or old ways of perceiving things. An old way of perceiving or thinking about things is coming to an end, and you are moving on to much more peaceful internal waters. That makes sense. This person is confused and doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know what to pick or choose. This person in the boat knows what to do. They're moving forward. They're sailing forward onto a much better future. Even if it's just internally in your own mind, moving on from old ways of looking at things, understanding things, or perceiving things. This can also be moving on from a situation as well. Moving on from an old way of manifesting things into a completely new way of manifesting things. This moving on process has been taking you a long time. This is, I don't know if you can see it, Geo the Slow. This moving on process has been taking a long time. You may have been thinking about moving on for a long time. You may have been pondering on how to move on for a very long time. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see if I can readjust myself. This is how they came out together. See if I can angle it where you can really see it. If you look at the person in the boat, who's being guided by an angel or their higher self or their guides or your own wisdom towards the piper and away from Geo the Slow. And so this feels as though you have had this treasure of yours be lost for a long time, and something about moving away from an old cycle has taken a long time to do. But now you're moving. Things are no longer going to be slow as your best possible outcome. And what you need to move towards is the piper. The piper rules empathy above everything. He's the fairy of empathy and of emotion and things like compassion and understanding. He can also rule illusion too. Sometimes we get so swept up by something that we feel deeply about that we don't simply just allow the piper to be what it is. Instead, we want to put the piper in a little jar and keep it to ourselves. I don't know who the heck this is for. I feel as though this is for somebody where this has either been done to you, where you are the piper and you've been stuck in a jar, or you've tried to take something that is uncontainable and contain it out of the fear of losing it or wanting to keep it. But that's not the purpose of the piper. The piper has total freedom to be his empathic, sensitive, emotional, musical self. The piper plays his magical panpipes and enchants people with his music. Kind of reminds me of that myth of Orpheus. How Orpheus sang and played the lyre so beautifully that birds would stop singing just to hear it. The trees would go still in the wind so that they could pay attention. Everything stopped around him, amazed at his capacity to create such beautiful music that everything around him became entranced. He was such a wonderful, amazing, empathic musician that he even seduced Hades and his wife to be able to be allowed to go down into hell to retrieve his true love. Oh, this is reminding me of the retriever. Orpheus had a great love. I can't remember what her name was, but they were deeply in love with each other. And on the day of their wedding, she was bit by a poisonous snake and died. And he was devastated. He was so devastated that he could not accept the fact that she was gone. And so he went to Hades, the underworld, to try to bring his lost love back to life again, or to retrieve her. He was extremely loyal to her, loved her very deeply. He played his lyre and sang about his true love so heartfeltly and so enchantingly that he even caused the Lord of Death, Hades himself, to shed tears, which normally Hades is talked about as being very stony, very dead to things that would normally affect anyone else. He kind of has to be, because the souls in Hades, a lot of different levels of Hades, some levels of Hades, the souls are so tortured and so in pain that they scream in agony. And so Pluto, or Hades, has to be almost perceived as having no feelings in order to withstand his job. But that's saying a lot, because Orpheus was able to make Hades cry with the beauty of his music of his lost love, and Hades' wife Persephone begged her husband to allow Orpheus to retrieve his true love. And so he went down to the depths of Hades. They gave him one condition, though, which was not to look back, and he couldn't speak to her. Eurydice, that was her name. His true love's name was Eurydice. They said, you can retrieve her and bring her back to life, but you can't look back at her. You have to hold her hand and lead her up out of Hades and through the cave, and only when you get out of the cave and are back in the land of the living can you look at her and speak to her. And so that was his rule. He had to obey those two rules in order to get her out. And so he grabbed her hand. He led her up through the different levels of Hades, which some of the levels of Hades are horrific, as I've explained. There's groans and moans and screams of agony, and it's dark. And so he, about 1/4 up, she started begging him. She didn't understand what was going on. She said, please, Orpheus, why won't you look at me? Why won't you answer me? What is going on? And he, at first, was very good with his rules, where he refused to look at her. He refused to speak to her. He knew what he had to do. But near the end, when they were almost out, he couldn't stand it any longer because of his empathy with her. His empathy with her was so strong that he couldn't listen to her being distressed. And at that point, she was distressed, where she was begging him over and over and sobbing, saying, what is happening? Why won't you answer me? Why won't you look at me? And by the end of it, he couldn't stand it any longer empathically. And he leaned back to try to reassure her. And they were almost out of the cave into the land of the living, but not quite. And so he broke his rules out of his empathy, where he couldn't listen to her, be distressed, and he wanted to comfort her and let her know that what he was doing and why he was acting that way. But because they weren't completely out of the cave yet, her hand slipped out of his hand, and she was lost for forever. It's not the happiest of endings for stories, but if you look, in the Six of Swords, that's almost the passage out of Hades. That's almost him jumping in his boat and crossing the river Styx, or the river that travels between the land of the dead and the land of the living. And so empathy will be your guide. I'm not saying that you will lose this love for forever, because you have this here. Because you have loyalty here, and the retriever as your central focus, one of your cards for your central focus. I'm not getting that you will lose this. You may, if some of you have lost something that meant a great deal to you, that particular phase or person or situation may have ended, but that doesn't mean that you can't have that again. And what you need to go towards is your own empathy, or where you feel empathy from others, from situations. That will be your guiding force on getting away from this old, drawn out karmic cycle where things have taken so long. And that is your best possible outcome. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. In the near future, you have strength with the Master Maker. You have come far enough along with your self-development of your own will, and also with what you're capable of and what you do and what you take action on in your life, where you have reached mastery. You will feel like you have moved on from a long karmic cycle onto a completely new way of being, where you are a master of yourself. You are a master of what you are capable of. You may also be considered a master at what you do, or how you lead things, or what you choose to manifest, and how you assert yourself and handle your own self on multiple levels of yourself, your instincts, and how you behave. The Master Maker is all about not perfection. I actually have a dear aunt who told me a saying, you know that saying, practice makes perfect? She told me a different version of it, which is practice is progress. There is no real such thing as perfection, because there's always something more you can learn. There's always something more you can develop. There's always something more that you can strive towards to become better and better at what you do, or who you are, or how you assert yourself, or how you express yourself. But this says you have come a long way. You feel very mature, and you feel very practical. I think I remember in the story of the Master Maker, he has a sign above his workshop that says, "Practical problems solved here." And so whatever you are trying to do, or choose, or to accept, approach it as what can be solved, or what can be arranged, what could be adjusted, what could be done to better the situation. You have officially grown up and become a spiritual adult, and are also looked at with, what's the word? Admiration. You are admired for your abilities. You are admired for your character. You are considered a solid, strong, capable person. And this is coming up for you in the near future. You may be promoted, or you may be moving the next level up with your capacities, abilities, and with asserting yourself. Some of you may get a degree, or become, have such a good reputation for what you have developed or made out of yourself that you don't necessarily have to toot your own horn at all. All you have to do is rely on other people's opinions of you, and they will refer you for you. They will speak well of you for you. It's almost like modestly being sure of yourself. So, you right now are trying to remain calm, steady, balanced, positive, and calm, if I didn't say that already. The other card that was talking about temperance here. The other card is called the Glanconer. And this is the smooth, hairy, deceptive, kind of shape-shifty, not to be relied on character that could be considered akin to things like con artists or liars or people that pretend to be something that they're not. People who put on a certain face, but it turns out that's not really who they are. I'm getting something specific here that this is from the past, that you have had to deal with situations like this in the past, where someone was not who you thought they were, or a situation was not what you thought it was, or you were duped or tricked in some way. Or you've been afraid of this. You've been afraid of being fooled to the point where perhaps you didn't trust certain situations that perhaps you could have trusted. You know more than me on how this played out. Part of you may be afraid that this is going to continue or to rear its ugly head again. Or it may even be that you have fooled yourself, which is kind of reminding me of that gnome, which is in your recent past. You may have tricked yourself somehow, and now there may be some fears there of that this is going to happen again, or even getting down on yourself that you could even be tricked in the first place. But you shouldn't think that way. We're all human. We all go through these things. But you're actively working on regulating this and making sure that you stay positive and focus on the truth, too. Temperance is a Sagittarian card, and Sagittarius is the sign that rules truth. So you have it in you, and you have the internal guidance within you, internal compass within you to know what is false and what is not false. It may just be that you have either tricked yourself or been tricked because you allowed yourself to be tricked. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so you're learning how to regulate this where you're not letting this get in the way for you, or you're not letting this knock you off balance. Obviously, we're always going to be occasionally surrounded by people who are false or people who don't show their true faces. It's just part of life. That doesn't mean that you have to engage in it or allow it to happen to you or to feed it any of your energy. And to just trust your own ability to know. Sorry, someone came in at the door who needed a reading. Okay. I think enough was said about this. I think either you understand this or you don't. So we're going to move on from there. In your surroundings, you have the Princess of Wands with the Fairy Godmother. And this is extremely fortunate for you to have in your surroundings. Concerning any kind of new project, new creative activity, learning anything new, expressing passion in a new way in your life, no matter what those passions have to do with. Those passions could be a new passion as in a relationship. It could be a new passion in a new skill that you would like to learn. It could be a passion of it, an adventure you would like to go on. It's just the Princess of Wands is like a new, fresh breath of creativity, love, and passion into your surroundings. There's something new being brought in by your fairy godmother. So your fairy godmother always gives you what you need. Small blessings, small tools that are magical to help you along on your journey. Whenever you feel stuck or like everything is doomed, your fairy godmother comes in with something for you that can aid you towards bringing out the best potentials for you, or so the adventure can continue rather than end. So you're being given some kind of a great opportunity or gift by your fairy godmother to look at yourself or your surroundings with new eyes. concerning what is possible for you or what you could do to bring in new, fresh, fun energy. And your hopes. Are that you will be able to transform and purify yourself where you are no longer holding on emotionally to past things that have happened to you, whether they're positive things, negative things, lessons you had to learn, or things you had to carry. You're hoping that you will be transformed where you can fully release those things and move on onto a completely new future for yourself. Some kind of a dream that you want to pursue, or a place you want to go, or a place you want to get to in your life, or just a feeling of that there's more out there for you, that there's mysterious, wonderful things out there just waiting for you to go find them. And that in order to trust that feeling and to move forward, you must transform and release your past attachments, at least the ones that you feel hold you back. That's your hope. Now this. You have the 9 of Cups as your general outcome, and you have himself with it. Himself is a representation of the divine masculine, which seeks to create, protect, and do what is necessary in order to ensure that the tribe and the family continues to live in the best way, with the most integrity. Himself rules things like shamans, healers, people who do what is necessary in order to make sure that the energy is integral. He has a great deal of integrity. He also rules things like intense passion, as in sexual passion, passion in relationships. He is the epitome of the mature masculine, which knows what to do and knows how to take care of things. So your wishes will be granted about something that you feel extremely strong about. And you are willing to do what it takes to ensure that this dream of yours comes true. And I'm getting from your fairy godmother, and because you have so many singers in this reading, the divine is on your side. If they see that you're doing the work and that you're really focusing on what truly matters to you and you're moving forward, they will do whatever it takes to ensure that you have what you need to be able to move forward. You may be given a great passion or a great love, or if you are in an existing relationship that you feel good with, this says that things are about to get heightened, or things are about to get more intense in a good way. Be careful not to overindulge or get carried away with this, because it's so miraculous and fortunate that sometimes we lose track of just how magical this really is. Not that I'm feeling you wouldn't value it or would take it for granted, but it is something I need to say with the 9 of Cups, is don't overdo it. Keep your passions in check, or keep them reined up a little bit. Don't get overboard. So good things are on their way, really, really good things that make you feel extremely passionate about your life and extremely capable and protective of what really matters to you. So hopefully that helped, or at least made sense. I wish you all the best. I love you very much, and I will see you for your bonus readings in the mid-month time. Okay, bye.